A home is more than just a building. It's a story, often written through generations. And sometimes, that story concludes with the preserved final days of its last occupant. Let's take a look inside an abandoned American home and go exploring past its present future. Jesus Christ. Oh, watch your head, Chris. Good times, good times, good times. Just a lot of junk strewn about this abandoned house. Not a lot to see. A few interesting things to photograph, but I'm not one for cleaning up a place to take photos, so staging places and things like that, so it's not really my kind of thing. A lot of records in this house. What I was able to determine from taking photos earlier and looking through things and having a look at records and so forth, there was a gentleman living here, probably quite old, or at least in need of medical attention. He was having home service, and I believe he was probably living on his own. His wife may have passed on before him, and he was receiving home care and home-served meals and generally that kind of thing. Around 1997 Christmas time, he was receiving cards but not sending any out, or at least there were a lot of empty ones that hadn't been sent out. But a lot of cards received with the date of Christmas 1997. And then he received a sticker for his vehicle for March 1998, but he hadn't actually put it on his vehicle. And records seem to dry up after that time period. So either he passed on or his medical condition became so bad he couldn't stay here. And from the looks of things, he had an avid record collection. And there's still dresses hanging up. So it's difficult to know for sure if those dresses had been there for a long time or if he left them after his wife passed or what the situation may be. He had essentially moved down to the first floor and was living here on the first floor. His bed is in the kitchen. There's a lot of interesting records here. Christmas with Colonel Sanders. Back when it was Kentucky Fried Chicken and not just KSC. Just set that down. It's a bit dark. I'm not using lights, so natural light, but there's a bedroom in here on the first floor. Some interesting ceiling work. I'll look at that in the living room here. It's rare to see a ceiling look so ornate in a little house of this kind where it's located. No shortage of Jesus everywhere. Not too surprising with that. Old style vacuum cleaner. That's awesome. Very classic. A little bit of a Art Deco design to it. As a fan of Art Deco design, that's cool to see. Just random assortments of bottles and things, your generic painting on the wall. Let's get another look at this Electrolux. Classic Art Deco design. Very, very cool. Again, more records everywhere. Our little friend the turtle. All right. The kitchen. This looks like it was staged for someone coming in and taking a photo earlier. Other explorers have been here many, many times. This gentleman had a taste for spumante from Italy. Good for him. The kitchen counter has a lot of records. I'm not going to go through them on the video to give away any names or things like that, but essentially, yeah, a lot of health records, DMV records for his driver's license, a lot of medical, home care, that sort of thing. And it, like I was saying earlier, it sort of tapers off around the early 1998 time frame. So, yeah. My aunts had cans like this in their kitchens, so these date to the 1950s or 60s or so. A lot of that kind of thing. Classic stove. People are always interested in when the clock stopped in an abandoned place, so there you go. About 10 to 1. Interesting design here is the washroom is between the kitchen and the living room. And over on this side, a lot of interesting little tidbits here. This Kodak instant camera color burst. Here's a classic from a bygone era. Interesting little box design. Whitman sampler, chocolates and confections. A lot of Christmas country records laying about. Polka, might be hard to see in the video, polka records. And a lot of other records here. Big old television. That's a classic. And here on this table were a lot of the cards I mentioned earlier. Christmas cards and things. And here in the kitchen, there's the bed. So he had moved down here and sleeping in here. Just a lot of junk strewn about everywhere. People ransacked the place over the last decade or two. That's basically it for a tour of the place. I'll do a few outside shots and that's your summary. Nice quick little tour. Quick exterior walk around of the house. Green and white, some paneling. What's more interesting is here around the back, shed or garage for the cars is collapsed and there's an old Studebaker here. That's kind of fun. A lot of debris, so I gotta be careful of nails and stuff the roof collapsed in. So that's interesting. Don't see too many of those anymore, abandoned or otherwise. Yeah. So the backside of the house. This brush is covered over quite heavy, so I'm not going to bother walking through. There's nothing back there to see. Anyway. So that basically concludes the exploration of this little house. Some stuff inside. Interesting. It's time to move on to the next destination.